What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another Friday night. Cool. What do we do on Friday nights?
This little thing called Talk Sports.
Yeah. And we do it a little different than most people because it's live and interactive right
Yes,
here
sir.
on the Play Color Sports Talk Show.
You already know.
So ready for a great show tonight, man. We're gonna have a couple of guests joining us. And we're gonna be talking a little bit of some NBA, some NFL, really diving in on that Giants and Panthers game. And we got some other stuff to talk about. But before we jump into that, if you're new here, lost to introduce ourselves. My name is Box, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, the one and the only.
Your boy Cool.
And together, we are
The
Play
Call.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So cool. Talk to me, man. What's all this stuff going on in sports this week, man? What do you want to talk about first? Because there's so much going on.
Man, there's so many things, but there's no way to cover it all. But a great place to start will be the opening nights or the opening games for the NBA. And
Hit
the
us up,
best
man.
thing I can
Talk to me.
say about the opening games for the NBA, man, is we saw a lot of good action. Some teams have been able to play one game so far. Some teams have played two. But what we've seen, man, is having things kind of fall back into the normal schedule seems to be working for guys. We're getting a lot of guys, back from injury. We're still waiting on season debuts from guys like Clay, Kawhi, Jamal Murray, and lots of other guys that were injured last year, or for whatever reason couldn't finish the season. So it's kind of exciting, man. We're in that crazy time of year where you've got NBA regular season games, you've got NHL games, you've got college football, you've got college basketball that's going to be starting here soon, you've got NFL, and you've got MLB League Divisional Series games going on. So a lot of wonderful things to be talking about for sports. But back to the NBA, you saw some of the teams that we expect to be in the conversations for playoff spots and championships come out strong, and do their things. We saw some that did not. But the thing is, we're not really trying to judge a team's success by what they've done in one game, right? One game does not make a season. One game never will make a season. But the important thing is the consistency. What I think a lot of teams and a lot of players, if they don't understand, should understand, and I believe a lot do, is winning the games that you're supposed to win is the most important thing. Winning games that you have an opportunity to win, because there are going to be games that you should win that you're going to lose. There's going to be games that you should lose that you'll have an opportunity to win. But when you're there and you have that chance, you've got to close those games out, right? Because everybody knows the playoff is back, the playing game. So if you're 7 or 8, you're in the playing again. So you want to be like 5 or above so you can stay off that line. So you can't be in the top if you're never in the top. So you want to start off in the top if you can. But if not, you just got to make it happen. That's pretty much where we're at in the NBA season right now.
So a quick shout out to Tyler who joined us over here in the chat. And Tyler was on with us last week to talk about his Green Bay Packers. So appreciate you being here, Tyler.
What's up, T.I.?
So yeah, man. When I look at the NBA this time of year, it's one of those things where I think it's interesting to watch the development of guys more so than trying to see where anybody is right now. Because you got a lot of teams, they did things in free agency in the offseason, made some moves, and so you watch these rosters start to gel together. And this time of year, you're really kind of getting an idea of what can those teams be. You really don't know yet. And so that's really, for me, kind of a fun thing to watch is those teams that stay pretty well intact, are they able to carry momentum from last season? Or do they maybe look like they're going to struggle a little bit? And for those teams that are bringing in new pieces, how do they gel? And it's kind of fun to watch that progress over the course of the season. Like you said, one game certainly isn't going to tell us who's going to win the championship this year and who's not going to win the championship. But there are definitely some things we can learn from that first game to that second game, seeing what kind of adjustments get made. So
Yeah,
that'll be
and
something
then
to keep an eye on.
for me, it's more, hey, you got to win, right? It's great to bring guys along. It's great for the team challenge. It's great for those score lines. But at the end of the day, you don't win enough games to sit on the outside watching the playoffs happen. So obviously, we're not determining who's the championship in one game, but or 2 games or 3 games or 5 games. But you want to get off to a strong start. We all know it's a season. There's going to be spurts where teams are not going to play as well. Injuries can happen, all types of things. So you want to be ready for that. So you want to start out strong if you can, So that's my take on it. That's how I look at it. And, it is what it is.
It is what it is, big dog. So I know we don't normally talk a lot of baseball, man, but I do want to go ahead and give you the floor for a second if you want to, just talk a little bit about your Braves.
Well, my Braves, they're up. They did lose last night, but it's okay. You can't win them all. But the Braves have had a really good season, man. They lost, the best player early in the year. Were able to bounce back from that, have a solid season. They're in the MLDS. They're still up. I do believe that they're going to not do what they did last year and choke. We learn from that. It happens. You have years where you kind of get almost there. You're not quite ready for it, right? The other team wants a little bit more, and they take it from you. But I think this is the year for Atlanta to get over the hump. But again, it's going to depend on what they do. Next game, it's time to come out and smack them in the face. There's no more playing. Let's just get this thing over with, and let's move on.
I have to say, man, living here in Atlanta, I almost am rooting for the Braves to actually win, just because it was kind of funny for a while watching like all the Atlanta sports teams constantly just fail. But it's getting a little bit sad, man. I'm starting to actually feel a little bit bad for all these Atlanta fans.
And look, man, a lot of teams I'm fans of, man, they haven't had really solid seasons. So this would be beneficial for me too, because my other teams are not looking too good.
Well, sir, I understand. I'm there with you. Has not been a great season at all for anybody and any on any level whatsoever. So,
well, somebody's had a good year, just not us.
Yes. I know also we didn't get to talk about this before, but we did have a nice little story happen in the WNBA, which I know you covered the WNBA on a couple other podcasts. So you want to share some insights on that?
Well, man, the story I'd like to talk about is they've crowned a champion, right? And that champion is the Chicago Sky, who our boy Tyler Ingram is a big fan of. I appreciate you running for the Braves, Tyler, but he's a big Chicago Sky fan. And I just want to say, man, it was great to see Candace Parker go home, in my opinion, the real CP3, and bring that first championship to Chicago, right? And it was a really great series, and they played another really good team in the Phoenix Mercury. For those who don't know, the Phoenix Mercury has a lot of really good players. A lot of people know Diana Taurasi from the Olympics. Brittany Griner from the Olympics. A lot of other names on the team. I won't go into too many names because they may not be familiar with everyone, but those are some names that you'll, identify with. And they were able to go out, man, and beat a team that most people thought they were going to lose to. And not only did they beat them, they smashed them in game 3 and then took them out in game 4. So it was exciting to see the women get like that stage, right? They were on, prime time during the middle of the day, good times, good games. They had some prime time games. So it's great to see that league grow, and a lot of people on this particular show, we don't get to talk WNBA as much, but a lot of people do watch the WNBA, pay attention to it. And I think it's a great league. It's up and coming. They've just had their 25th anniversary this year. So they're here. It's great to watch, man. It's something I definitely would encourage everybody to be a part of as far as watching, supporting, merchandise, and all that, man. Let's help that league become as popular as the NBA because they have good, solid young ladies that go out there and give it their all every day.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people when they hear 25th anniversary, they go, that's a long time. But if you actually think about that in comparison to a lot of the men's professional leagues, it's actually not a long time at all.
Yeah, it's not, man. It's still like, I would say it's in its infancy, but still definitely in its early stages. I like to see the WNBA expand soon. I think Charlotte definitely needs their team back. I think, Houston needs the Comets back. Some of these teams that were around and are no longer around, man, let's get them back. Let's get
Yep.
this thing rolling, and let's make this thing expand, man. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
It takes us as fans to do that. So that's the important piece, guys.
So one thing we have to talk about, man, is the college football season. We talked a little bit about it last week, and man, it just seems like nobody except for Georgia wants to stay in the top 5. It's like everybody is like just losing. Iowa went up, and they were at number 2. People are like, hey, they've beat a couple of other ranked teams. Are they for real? And then they went out there and just could not throw the ball to save their lives and lost. Not just lost. I mean, they lost bad to an unranked team.
Well, man, it's we talk about parity in sports a lot, and a lot of people put like Alabama, Clemson, some of these teams like on the pedestal where they're unbeatable. And the thing is, they've deserved it, right? Because they've been the 2 teams, Alabama and Clemson, and of course, other teams come up for a year, fall back down or whatever. But they've been a pretty consistent teams, what I say about the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But what you're getting is more parity because you're getting more talent to start to spread out to other teams. Right. The difference between a team like Iowa, and even Iowa State, it's not that big of a difference. Georgia's been on the door several times. Georgia's had what some people consider more talented teams multiple times, but they couldn't get it done. This year, so far, they're getting it done. So the main difference with Georgia is they haven't slipped up. They normally slip up. Yep. You look down at some of the other teams, like Tyler just said, Purdue, it's great. You want to have some upsets. You want to have some parity. You want to have guys lose. Now, for right now, as far as top 10 goes, there's only 4 undefeated teams left. You got Georgia number 1, Cincinnati at number 2, Oklahoma at number 3, and then Michigan State at number 9. The important thing to remember about all this also, though, is this is what we're seeing from the AP poll. This is what we're seeing from the coaches poll. Until we actually get the poll that's going to determine who the top 4 teams are that are going to make the playoffs, until that drops, we're just going off what we see from the AP poll and the coaches poll. They could come out and say, oh, even though Alabama has a loss, they're still the 3rd best team in the country. Second best team in the country. We don't know that yet. So right now we're just going off of these rankings, but that's only a piece of what's really going to determine those top 4 teams. So I kind of wait a little bit to talk the numbers too much until we see that, because they always surprise us. They have every year.
Well, you know what week this is, sir?
Yes, I do.
This is week 8.
Yes, sir.
Which means that by the time we do this show next Friday, we're going to know who those first 4 teams slated to get into the playoffs are. But remember that I don't think we've had a single season yet where the initial 4 teams that were projected actually ended up being the 4 teams that made it in. And the way this season has gone, I would not go bet on anything.
You'd be wise not to bet on anything. You would be wise not to do that, because at the end of the day, we know history showed us, like you said, all 4 are not going to make it, but at least one of them are.
Yeah.
Who will that be?
It's a little bit crazy, man. So I'm curious. We got a few minutes here before we start having some of our other guests jump on. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts here coming up on the NFL trade deadline? About 10 days or so away. Any big moves that you see happening? Like, obviously a big rumor that's been floated around the last couple of days, Deshaun Watson. Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think other big moves are going to happen?
So here's the thing. I think a lot of teams right now are not in the mode where they're going to be sellers. All right. You got a couple of teams that are like, we done. But for the most part, I think a lot of teams feel confident that they're going to be able to turn their seasons around based on their schedule, based on the divisions they're in, different things like that. So I don't see too many moves happening. There's been rumbling that, Allen Robinson might be traded from the Chicago Bears. There's been rumblings, and I think that's basically based off his lack of play, that we may be trading Miles Sanders, but that doesn't make a lot of sense, because why would you not highlight a guy and then try to trade him? There's been, like Tyler just said, there's been rumors about Odell Beckham possibly being traded. That's a move that I could actually see possibly happening, but I guess it depends on compensation. I could see him being better if he's on a team where there's a quarterback that's going to really focus on him a little bit more, as well as if you can get him somewhere where there's another guy that's like a solid one or two, so he has that other guy. A lot of people have actually mentioned Philadelphia. Some people have mentioned San Francisco as a landing spot for him as well. Green Bay has come up as a landing spot for him just based on saying how well he would play on those teams being a featured receiver. So,
Yep.
you never know. But every trade deadline, we get these talks. We had Dearness Johnson go off last night for the Cleveland Browns. Once they get those other guys healthy, if they can get those guys back or know they're coming back in the next 10 days, maybe he's going to be on the trade market for teams looking for a running back. You never know. But I think a lot of it's rumors, a lot of it's smoke. Of course, the whole Deshaun Watson in this situation is the main thing to watch, just simply because that's the move that everybody's been waiting on since the offseason. We know he's not going to play for the Texans. So if they don't trade him by the trade deadline, you're basically going to pay him to sit and chill for a whole season. If that's what you want to do, cool. But I really don't want you to trade him to Miami. I want that high pick. So Miami, you don't really want him, okay? You don't want him.
I mean, one thing I will say with the reports that came out, I thought was interesting is if you look at the original source, the original story actually came from a beat writer for the Texans. So clearly, this was information that was leaked from the organization to a beat writer because there may be some preliminary talks with Miami, but this was an effort to get some other teams to maybe come out and start offering something or to scare Miami into increasing their offer. Because I have a hard time believing that Miami is actually looking to part way with multiple first round draft picks for a guy with 22 cases hanging over his head that we don't know what the outcome of that's going to be next year.
Yeah, that's true. Reportedly, the Eagles and the football team also had some discussions regarding Deshaun Watson. So, and discussions is different from really, putting a solid offer out there. Anybody can call and say, hey, is he available? What do you think you want for him? You tell him it's too much, now we good. So
I mean,
think
let's
you
be
get
real.
more of
There's
that
not many.
than what they're
There's
trying
not
to
many
say.
teams out there that shouldn't be calling and having discussions.
There's really not. There's really not.
I mean, you should at least be picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, what's the deal?"
I mean, if you're not doing it at this point right now, man, there's a problem because at the end of the day, there's a lot of teams that if they had a better option at quarterback, they would be a better team. Now, some of those teams, it's the coaching as well, right? So you got to get another coach in there or get some changing in the philosophies of some of those coaches as well, and you can make some things happen. So, that's kind of where we're at as far as the trade deadline goes. There could be some things that happen. I think we'll get more information probably in this next few days, a week, since we only have about 10 days left until the trade deadline. But as of now, I think it's a sit tight. Let's see what happens. Some of these games this weekend could be pivotal. 2 and 3 teams lose a game. They maybe feel like they were kind of in there, and they lose another game, and they go, 2 and 4, 2 and 5. It's like, well, it may be time to make some things happen. It may be time to make some moves. So we'll see. But ready to see what's going to happen in these next 10 days. Definitely.
So agree with Tyler's sentiment there that the rumor is they're looking for 3 first rounders and 2 second rounders. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that from a pure talent standpoint, that's too much even outside of what's there. But with all the stuff he has going on, all the question marks around him right now, even 2 second rounders, even if you exclude the first rounders, is too much capital to me personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
what I think will end up happening is if he gets traded, I think there's going to be some conditional picks. I think it's going to be like, hey, if he plays, this is what we give you. If he doesn't play, this is what we'll give you.
Oh, yeah. It's going to have to be a situation where they drop what they're asking for and they're fine with saying, there may be, if he plays, it could be a first or 2 firsts. If he doesn't play, it may be a first and 2 seconds or whatever. It's going to have to be something else because you don't know the outcome of this whole situation. And that's going to be tricky for anybody that's really trading for him, unless you're trading for him because you feel like he's a piece that can get you a Super Bowl this season.
Yeah. So we got one more guest that we're waiting on to come in live. Do you want to give him a few minutes before we transition over? to the rest of this NFL conversation?
Nah, man, let's get it popping, man. Let's get it popping.
Well, man, in that case, I'm going to introduce, apparently, as of this moment, is going to be a handicap match, a 2-on-1. And introducing first the challengers from Charlotte, North Carolina, at a combined unknown weight, representing the Sideline Sports Network, Jen.
Hi, how are you guys? You're hilarious. Coming to you live from Monroe Atrium, baby.
And her tag team partner, Ren. Who? Ren Jones!
You see it. You can't see it, but you see it.
Ren, you can see it, though. You can see it.
Yeah, you pride.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I had to pull out the archive for the show tonight.
I appreciate it, man. Those Aggies are in the same book from the opening day at then Erickson Stadium in the year of our Lord 1995. A young Ren Jones was marching in the blue and gold marching machine for A&T as we did the inaugural halftime show at Erickson Stadium for these Carolina Panthers. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to be quiet and defer to the lady.
I will just tell you, Ren, when I told this dude that you went to A&T, like, I couldn't see his face because we were on the phone, but I could see his face. He was smiling ear to ear.
I love it. I love it. Let's see if I can find my picture in here.
Yes, sir, bro. We don't even have to know each other.
Man, you want to introduce the home team, huh?
Well, I was waiting to see if Jim wanted to, hop on.
Oh, no, I wasn't sure if I should talk. Yeah, I actually remember when it was Erickson Stadium. My dad has been a PSL holder since 1995, and we were going down to Clemson. And so I remember seeing you out there, Ren, when you're walking in with your Aggies.
That's right. That's right. Good times.
Okay.
I know it was. I'm actually really excited about this weekend and where we're headed in the future. What about you, Ron?
Oh, man. I hope to see something that turns us around this week.
Me too.
I'm hopeful. But I was a 1-15 fan. I was a 2-14 fan. So I'm going to keep pounding one way or the other.
Exactly. We have to.
Right.
CP4 life.
That's right. That's right.
All right,
now,
guys.
I will say this. They have to bring back game pounding in the stadium. How they're trying to do it now is hogwash. And Mr. Tepper, come on. It costs you $100, dude. Loosen up. Give the people what we want. Just give the people what we want.
That's
all.
Now we're about to drop in here and get the winning team in here. First, we're going to drop the man with the plan. One of the heads of the Sideline Sports Network. Diehard Giants fan. From parts unknown. Big JB Ellis. Let's go.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, JB?
How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good, man.
You guys want to talk some Giants, Panthers?
Yeah,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We trying to give all 32 teams a love, man.
Yeah, man. And we got to drop in JB's partner tonight. You know him as Eric. I know him as Hercules. He's the Giants fan that believes in the team no matter how bad they are, no matter how good they are. Real level-headed guy. Longtime fan of the show, Mr. Eric Nelson.
Sleazy E.
Yes, sir.
What's going on? What's going on, fellas? And
what's going on, man?
Hi.
We finally got Eric on camera. We've been trying for like 6 months.
I'm camera shy. I'm camera shy.
So we're gonna kick this off. We're real simple. So we're gonna kick this off real simple. We're gonna start with the visitors, the Carolina Panthers. Tell us, and both y'all can get a chance to talk here. What do the Carolina Panthers need to do to win this football game?
I'm a Southern gentleman, so ladies first.
Okay. So the only player that I have any somewhat concern about is Bradbury, just because he does have a bone of contention and he isn't too bad at his job. But Bradbury isn't going to have a candle to us this weekend. Chuba is only, or Chuba, I'm sorry, is averaging what, 4 yards to carry this season so far. He's really stepped into his own. The Giants are 27th in the league in scoring, averaging 19 points per game. That's where it will be a little bit hairy because we are allowing about 20 points per game. However, our defense is third in the league. So we're there. And the Giants defense is got the Dave Gettleman issue right now. We'll be nice and blame it on Dave. Then the Giants are ranked 16th this year in yards per game with 360 so far. So we just have to really come, blitz, do what we do. Daniel Jones is doing a pretty good job. His numbers aren't horrible. They're not great. I think he's got, 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions thus far this year. And Sam is doing kind of the same at 50-50. 7 TDs, 7 interceptions. But I really feel like last weekend, and Ren, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the last minute 20 of last weekend's game really, really, really showed our offense what they can and are capable of. Mm-hmm. My only regret is they weren't doing it the entire game.
I agree 100%. From my perspective, New York has a lot of lovely buildings with doormen, right? Unfortunately, we got some doormen employed on our offensive line. They'll just let you walk right into the building. No ID check, no nothing. Come right in. So I think if we can reduce Matt Paradis' tendency to be a world-class doorman on the offensive line, we hadn't had a left tackle since Jordan Gross. They just call it what it is, right? So if the offensive line can give us anything like a coherent full 4 quarters of a game, I think we got a shot. On defense, I'm really quite satisfied with what they're doing on defense. Phil Snow, I think, is coaching good defensive games. I think they got exhausted last week because the defense was on the field just the whole game as usual. And let's call it what it is. Your number 2 and your number 1 wideout, they got to catch passes. Like, literally, you don't have to study for midterms. There's no, you don't work at UPS at night. Like, you got one job, like they used to say on in Living Color, right? The Jamaican skit. One job. You got one job, man. Just one job. You catch the ball, So if the receivers can receive, they got a shot at winning the game. Yeah. And how novel would that be to see a receiver catch the ball? That would be awesome. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm looking for in this game. O-line block, receivers catch the passes. We had 8 drops. I think that's the most drops by a 1 and 2 wide receiver since 1968 or something. Got to catch the ball, man. I could have caught 1 of those out of 8, by the way. Shout out to Smitty too. We could have used Agent 89 last week.
Oh gosh, yes, I miss him.
That's all I have to say about that.
What you got, man?
Tough year so far. We got we're banged up, a lot of injuries, but now's the time of year where we start playing. We're in that point where we're headed for a top 3 draft pick, so we're going to start winning some games. This is what the Giants have done the last 4 or 5 years. Before the season started, this was a win on my schedule. This and the Atlanta game. We all saw the Atlanta game. But we got this game coming up. I figured, the Panthers are rebuilding. They're a down year. We're going to take care of business pretty easy. I don't know. I look forward to Sunday. I don't know who's playing offense. Steven, if you want to go play running back for the Giants right now, now's your chance. It's pretty bad.
I'm going to pass behind that offensive line y'all got, man. I'm going to pass on
but,
that.
When it comes down to it, it's the NFL and strange things happen. Games that I'm going to say right now, Carolina should win this game. but it's never that simple. It's never as easy as it looks on paper, and that's why the Giants will show up. The defense has been playing off. They haven't done what they did last year. I mean, I said before the year they were definitely going to regress. They weren't a top 10 defense, but without a doubt, they're not as bad as they've been playing so far this year. So they have. It's time to step up now, and if they can't do it against the Panthers, who are in a bit of a slump right now after starting off hot, it's no point in it going on this season.
My turn. So I actually agree with everybody in their own right as far as things go. When it comes to the Giants, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm always having Giants back. I'm always gonna have Giants back. Win or lose, I'm like, hey, we tried. But no, in this regard, though, as far as right now, I think it's going to be a matter of gameplay. I mean, we don't have. Everybody knows we're banged up right now. When it comes to everything, we don't have the top tiers that we would like to have. Our team is full of potential, not necessarily stars, and everything. It's all full of potential. Possible capables. I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to coaching. What difference are they going to make with what we do have? It's been proven time and time again that with possible coaching, with good coaching behind the players' back, that even the small fries or the ones that we got to admit can't be starters, but are good number 2s and 3s can make a difference. And I think that's what's really going to make the change out of this situation. Because I mean, as Ren said, like the Panthers got Dorman on their team, we got them too.
The issue is we've had it for many years, though. I mean, that's what kills me. We've had this offensive line problem going on 5 years now.
Yeah. But that's when you look at it like, okay. What difference are we going to make now? We keep losing these games. There's no more time to take your time. It's now we got to start making different moves.
So here's a question I want to ask all of y'all. So both of you have quarterbacks in your system. They have some question marks, right? I mean, people have been wondering about, Sam Darnold from the Jets, was wondering, would a fresh start work for him? Daniel Jones, obviously a big question mark for the Giants. Was he going to take that step forward this year? Both of you have had major injuries in the running game. Both of you have offensive lines that don't want to block anybody. Do you feel like you've seen enough out of those two quarterbacks this year to feel comfortable moving forward with them? Or do you think it's time to hit the eject button and get somebody new in the next season?
I'm going to go real quick, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Our biggest doorman, Ren, I don't know if you'll agree with me on this or not, will be sitting on the sidelines this weekend with an injury in the name of Cam Irving. And I'm excited about Cam being out. Regarding Sam, Sam's done everything asked of him. And more than enough. I was at the game on Sunday. I'm very fortunate. I get to go to a lot of the games with my dad. And when I'm watching Sam was doing a good job. He wasn't the problem Sunday. Robbie Anderson may have been, but that was because he dropped more than 3 balls. And the local news media is only saying Robbie did that, but we're also not getting Robbie the short, quick throws. We need to focus on getting DJ the long throws because that's where DJ shines, right? So, I mean, DJ can pretty much do it all. He's learning from mine and Ren's favorite Panther, age 89. And so, Sam, he's done everything he's been asked of. Do I wish he had a few less interceptions? Yeah. But I'm also happy that he's got the most rushing touchdowns in the league of any quarterback. Yeah. He came here, he was like, all right, Panthers fans want rushing TDs because of Cam. I'm going to give it to him. Because a lot of us are still a lot hurt and heartbroken over Cam, not going to lie. We're getting up over the breakup pretty hard. Okay, I'll let anybody else go now.
I'll chime in since we're on the Panther side really quick, and then I'll give it to the New York folks. Yeah, I think Sam's done enough to show me that it's okay to ride with him. I haven't seen the wild inaccuracy that we saw last 3 years with Cam Newton, who's sort of habitually throwing high. Something in that motion would not let him bring that ball down so the receiver could get it. I think for what Sam's dealing with in terms of an offensive line, he's running for his life a lot of the time. And he's done a decent job at throwing on the run and keeping his eyes downfield. Sam's taking some shots. Like one of the knocks on Sam was really the happy feet, right? Getting him to settle his feet instead of dancing around when he gets nervous. I've seen him stand in the pocket a lot and take some shots. That's what I like to always see from an NFL level quarterback. And then the last thing for me, like Jim was talking about, that last minute and 25 2-minute drive. We'll say the last 2-minute drill. You're on first and 10 from your 4-yard line. 2-minute drill, converted 2 fourth down conversions with his arm. Gashed the defense for I think a 30-yard running play during that same drive. I mean, that was kind of all Sam. Scored with his arm. Scored a 2-point conversion with his arm. He put his team in a position to win a game. Defense was exhausted by then. I'm okay with Sam. I think any quarterback that you put in there gets murdered behind the current offensive line.
Ding, 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 ding.
So that's what it is. That's my 2 cents.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's hear from the Giants fans.
So,
JB?
looking at the Giants, the way I look at Daniel Jones, he was a reach when he was picked. Wasn't the guy I was looking for. He hasn't had the line, and Barkley's been hurt last year and again this year. So we're never going to know what we have with him. But to invest heavily in him going forward, he doesn't protect the ball good enough. I think it's time to rip the cord and go somewhere else. Send him let him go be like Darnold. Go somewhere else and prove that you can play. But it's not going to be here because I just don't think it's worth it.
You want Jimmy Garoppolo? I'll send him to you right now.
Hey, we got Gardner Minshew if you want Gardner.
But they should be in on that Miami trade rather than letting Washington get Tua. Go after Tua.
Behind the Giants line?
Listen, why not?
Oh, yeah.
I can think of at least 5 reasons why not.
I can think of a whole bat of why not.
Does Daniel Jones excite you as a Giant fan? It doesn't excite me.
No, that's not it at all. And
they were Tua was their quarterback of the future. I read that in The Athletic, I think, today.
Cool can attest to my reaction draft night when Daniel Jones was picked. It was not a pleasant night for me. It was not.
I'll just say this to attest to it. The reaction that I had when we selected Jalen Reagor when Justin Jefferson was sitting on the board was akin to his reaction when Daniel Jones got selected. And let's just say that was not a pleasant moment for either one of us.
Right.
And I will verify that reaction by telling y'all that my co-host works very, very hard at staying professional and not cursing on the show. I think that was the one time he almost slipped up.
Yeah, it was a very bad night for us. But how I feel about Jones is I don't think that he's on the right team. I do feel that he has actually progressed in these last few years, quite a bit actually, even for what he's given. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's hard being a Giants player with our fan base. Let's just face it, we will trash our own people like nobody's business and hurt some feelings as far as it goes. That it's not easy, especially right now. It's one thing to lose a bit. It's completely different to just lose like badly, consistently. That's not what we usually do, you know. But as JB said, like usually by the end of the season, we will pull out a few random, like surprising, like, oh, where'd that come from? You know, wins.
Every year.
Yeah. And I feel that when it comes to Jones, I have a two-part answer to that. If they want to keep Jones, because he's right, we don't know what we can get out of Jones because we don't have the actual offense around him consistent enough to say, hey, Jones can do it, you know, or anything like that. But when it comes to it, if Giants want to keep Jones, we have to invest the right type of bodies around him. Stop going for the mediocre Detroit people and stop going for Dallas's leftovers. Let's get some actual bodies that want to do something and creative people to actually invest in him. Otherwise, if you're not going to invest in this young guy that still coincidentally still has time on his hands to actually keep playing instead of getting beat up, I mean, then go ahead and let him be great somewhere else. Hell, I think he honestly have a better chance of being with Washington than us, to be honest with you. And even that's a stretch, but still, like, if you're gonna invest in somebody, actually put something around him and invest in him. Stop going for these has-beens and be like, he can make do. No, he's not Brady already. He's still learning and growing. He's not like a lot of these other players that has the right weapons and utensils, to actually do something already. Especially coaching staff. Don't get me started with coaching staff.
Well,
it's frustrating to be a Giant fan. That's all I'm going to say.
And I'll say this in Tom Brady's defense: he did not go to Duke. He went to Michigan.
There are only two teams that can get me heated when I watch sports the way I get heated: the Giants and St. John's basketball. And the Giants for the last 5 years, oh my God, it's horrible. And there's no end in sight. It's a carousel of coaches. The offensive line is disgusting, and we know it's been a problem. Barkley, we're wasting his career and his talent. It's a shame to see what's happening with that guy, and he keeps getting hurt because nobody blocks for him. So, and then we go, like he just said, we go out and we get second-rate wide receivers. We make a great trade on draft night, and then we go draft Tony, which I don't know what we need another receiver for. That wasn't a need we had. So how are we going to get better without addressing our needs? And, Daniel Jones has gotten better, but why bother at this point?
So we're going to move on to our picks for the weeks. Yeah, we need to go ahead and jump into our picks for the week. But E, since you brought it up, I do just want to go ahead and just throw in there real quick. Remember when I said that body that you brought over from Detroit wasn't going to be any better than the body you brought from Detroit last year? And everybody disagreed with me?
No, wait. I agreed. I totally agree.
I think you were the only one that agreed.
Because I didn't like Tate. I was like, what is the point of bringing him over here?
Well, I'll just simply say this, man. When I look at this game, I think about it this way. If the Giants can find a way to hang in the game, and I get it, you guys are down a lot of your receivers, a couple linemen, so it's going to be difficult. But if you can hang in the game until the second half, what I've seen from the Panthers is, and I'm in Charlotte, so I know about the Panthers. I hear about them all the time. When they hit the second half, they just haven't found a way to stay with the same game plan or momentum. So if you can hang with them in that first half, I think you at least have a shot in the second half. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out, but there's at least that possibility there. And like you guys said, JB and Eric, if you could just get there, you're going to win a couple of games that you don't even think you're going to win because you always find a way, like we do, to kind of, if you're really bad, pull yourself out of that really high pick. So, it should be a good game. It may be two teams a lot of people are looking at it and saying they're not really good teams, but it should still be a good game.
I think we both have the biggest issue. I know a lot of people in Charlotte disagree with me. I do think a lot of it does come down to coaching. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not going to just solely blame Roll because our defense is looking good. But the other Brady and the Carolinas may
I think coach is a universal problem.
Be on my watch list. Yeah. It is.
I think that's a universal problem for a lot of teams this year.
And to be fair to both of these coaching staffs, it is incredibly difficult to coach a team and be consistent if you're getting poor offensive line play. Because that really limits what you can do.
And I will say Federer has come out in the last week and said, hey, I'm getting, other teams to work with me on D, but they're not coming out and working with me on getting our offense set up. Because our D is so good, my only thought from that is that they really know we'll be a huge powerhouse once we finally get, a solid left tackle. When we get a solid kicker and a solid left tackle, that's when I know we'll be serious. Bottom line.
All right, so our first game up to pick actually is this Panthers at Giants game. So let's hear them. Who's your picks? And homerism is encouraged. It's okay. You can be a homer.
27-17 Panthers.
Ooh, and a score.
I won't do a score, but I'm just going to go Panthers. They're hungry.
Yes.
The Giants got this one. Even though as frustrated as I am, they're going to win by a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm always supporting the Giants, but I feel we'll field goal. It's going to be close.
All right, so it looks like we're the tiebreakers, or it may still be a tie. I'm going to go Panthers. Who you taking, Cool?
Oh.
And we lost him. I guess
he chooses Giants. Don't worry.
You know a game is tough to pick when somebody just rather leave the whole show.
I'm gonna back out of the entire show right now, rather than deal with this pressure.
All right, you've had a little time to think, man. Did you come up with who's gonna win the game?
Well, you didn't hear me, but I was saying I'll take the Panthers. It was getting a little glitchy for me. So I was like, let me leave and come back so that way I can actually hear what we're talking about.
We thought maybe you're just gonna handle the pressure and you bounced.
The show didn't accept it. The show didn't accept the answer.
All right, the Jets at the Patriots. I'm going to take the Patriots here.
I'll go with Mac Jones and the Patriots too.
Yeah, Patriots.
Mac Jones, because that's my cousin.
I see the resemblance.
I'll go with Jets.
I'll go Patriots too.
Okay, so we got one Jets.
That's a way to be on the island.
That's an island.
That's a man on the island.
You out there on Revis Island.
It's Cool knows why I choose Jets.
Yes, I do.
We got the Chiefs at the Titans. I'm gonna go Titans. I think Derrick Henry on the roll.
I don't know if I'm next, but I'll go Titans in that one too.
Titans are gonna keep going this week. The Chiefs are in trouble.
Hey, the Chiefs still get a win.
I want the Chiefs to win, but I think it'll be the Titans.
It's like I might be on
island. Well, no, because I honestly feel that right now Chiefs are, their seats are warming up. So I think they got something to prove, So I'm gonna go Chiefs.
Okay. The football team at the Packers. We know who Tyler's going to take, and I'm going to agree with. I'm going Packers.
Yeah, we got to go Packers on that one.
Packers.
Everybody taking Packers.
All Packers all day on that game.
Yeah.
The Falcons at the Dolphins.
Falcons. Let's go Falcons.
I think it ends. I think it ends in a tie, and a meteor falls on the stadium that they play in.
Yes, I like that. Come on, Randy, you like it too.
That might work, but I actually need the I think I need the Dolphins to actually play so they can lose the games so we can get that high pick. Yeah.
I feel like the Dolphins have basically been told they're not good enough all week in the media, and the Falcons are going to win this game.
Yeah. Definitely Falcons.
Let's see. I don't know. It may just be my unadulterated hate for the Falcons and the Saints, but I gotta go with. I'm gonna say, the Dolphins have been taking a lot of grief, so let's see if they pull it together and get that win. All right, so I'll pull for you this weekend, buddy.
Okay.
Miami.
We got the.
Yeah.
Atlanta, you have one job. One job. Do it.
And I need Miami to do it too.
We got the Bengals at the Ravens.
Great game.
It's gonna be
Ravens.
That's gonna be a
I
good
don't know. I think the Bengals are going to surprise some people this week. This is a challenge game for them. They're going to be there ready to play. I like the Bengals in an upset.
I like Bengals here too.
I think the Bengals have a chance. I'm not discounting the Bengals at all, but Lamar Jackson's on a whole nother level right now. I'm gonna go Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Ravens in a very tight game, coming down to who has the ball last. But I think I'm gonna go with the Ravens. But boy, this might be the game of the week.
Yeah.
Who's the active halfback on the Ravens at the moment?
Lamar Jackson.
Right. You know what? You're absolutely right. Just for that answer, I'm gonna go
brain fart.
Oh man!
But I think this week he plays wide receiver too.
It's all fun and
Hey,
games.
man, throw the ball high enough and run fast enough. You never know.
Lamar can do it now. All right, the Lions at the Rams. Anybody want to go Super Island here and pick the Rams to get the Lions to get their first win? Yeah, me neither.
I will.
You will?
I will too.
Yeah.
Oh, you reaching? Both of you
I
reaching?
want to see if the Lions get any points. That would have been the better question.
Y'all got in the water up there in Charlotte.
It's more
I'm
like
in Monroe right now.
Universal and philosophical for me. Like can every streak's got to end. I just feel like that. Now, I feel like if there's any team that the Rams might take way too lightly, it's hard to get up for the Lions. It is. I don't know.
Now, I will say this is going to be the interesting thing.
Stafford shouldn't have a problem getting up for the Lions.
Well, I was going to say the interesting thing is this is the double revenge game because Stafford going against the Lions and Goff going against the Rams. Right. And I think Goff has more to want to prove this week than Stafford does.
Yeah, I agree with you on that completely.
Yeah.
I'm still picking the Rams, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. I don't think the Lions get any points.
Cool. Did you make the pick? Did you pick?
Oh, definitely the Rams.
Okay. All right. So everyone except for Cool, Eagles at the Raiders. So we all know who
Raiders.
Raiders.
Ooh.
I'll go Raiders.
I said last week that the Raiders were going to win because they were going to feel good because Gruden was off the sideline. That was a 1 week thing. I'm going Philadelphia.
Ooh.
Philly.
Let me get next year.
And I'm just assuming that you're going Philly. We don't need to.
Of course.
The Texans
Against
and
Raiders?
the Cardinals.
Who do you have a coach?
Cardinals.
Yeah, Cardinals.
Is that a real pick? You really want to pick that?
I mean, it's on the schedule.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure
If
we
you
all know.
put in the Cardinals practice squad, you might have a game. But hey.
I mean, listen, to be
Cardinals
fair,
roll
two people
back.
did pick the Lions over the Rams. I'm just saying.
I was one of those people.
Yeah. So
I'm
even games that seem, like sure things.
Cardinals by 300 points. And at the end of the game, both teams wear Cardinals
Zach Ertz
uniforms.
snaps his beat. Oh no.
I mean, I'll be rooting for the Texans and Lions, but neither of them are winning.
The Bears at the Buccaneers.
But
Tom Brady revenge game. The Bucks are going to win.
Bucks.
Definitely
Yeah,
Buccaneers.
isn't this a game where Tom forgot that it was fourth down?
Yeah.
That was the Bears, right? Yeah. He thought it was
Yeah.
third down and it was fourth.
I think it was.
Yeah,
I don't know
he's
if it
pissed.
was Monday or Sunday night. This is a revenge game for
Yeah.
him. They're going to go
Yeah.
out big.
Yeah.
Yeah, he murderizes the Bears.
Yeah.
JB,
Bear
I'm
meat
not-
soup for
I'm
everybody.
not disagreeing with you, JB, that this is a revenge game for Tom Brady. I'm just saying that doesn't really need to be a revenge game. The Bears have no chance of winning this game either way.
Tom Brady makes every game a revenge game,
but-
dude.
But
This
he's going
is
to throw
true.
for like 400 yards because of that. It's just 5 touchdowns.
I mean, Tom did have to switch teams to beat the Panthers. Just saying.
I mean, to be fair, he also had to switch teams to beat Eli Manning, so he didn't beat him
True.
either.
That's true.
This is why when people start talking about he's the GOAT, I'm like, the dude lost a Super Bowl to Nick Foles. Please stop.
All right.
I love you.
Wow.
That's funny.
Yeah, Cool's gone again. All right, so next up we have the Colts playing against my 49ers. So y'all know I'm taking a homerism pick. I'm going Niners.
I'm with you. I'm not sold on the Colts. Just don't like that team.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'll go
with
Niners
Jimmy
here,
G.
too. Yeah.
We'll see who Cool's going to take when he comes back. The only concern I really have this week is it does look like Trent Williams is going to be out. So a little bit of a concern there. All right, sir. Niners and Colts.
49ers.
All right.
Colts suck.
The Saints at the Seahawks.
Hawks. Oh,
I'm going Saints.
that's a tough one.
Geno Smith comes out on top.
I'm going to go
this time.
Seahawks. I'm going to go. They run the ball like 80,000 times, and I'm going to go Seahawks. Geno Smith's going to have like 120 yards passing, but they'll still win.
I'll take Carroll over Sean Payton.
I think it's gonna be a very defensive thing going on there. Shut down the run or shut down the crazy passes. I'll go Hawks.
Okay. Am I on the island? Am I the only one to pick the Saints? Wow.
I believe you
just
are
better be
island
on the island
bound,
on that
sir.
one. Hey, I'll live on that island.
You want a coconut?
And then next Thursday night, the Packers and the Cardinals. Our first really good Thursday night game.
Yes. Another game of the week possibility. I like the Cardinals.
Man.
I like Kyler Murray. I think he's your MVP this year.
I think I'm going to have to agree with JB.
I would go Green Bay if they had Jair Alexander, but without him, I just think Arizona's going to eat that defense up. I'm going to go Arizona.
Same.
I'm gonna go out on the island and go Pack.
All right.
Okay. All right.
We need to start tracking like island picks every week and see how the island person.
Yeah, that
does.
should be our thing. We should just track like island picks.
We'll bring Ren on every week to do his bad Jamaican accent and tell us about the island pick.
Horrible Jamaican accent.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Packers on this one. I don't see Aaron giving it up to a newbie.
Oh man, she moved in on the island with you.
There goes your island.
I moved onto your island. I'm sorry.
You was out there enjoying life on the island. All of a sudden, a rowboat just hit shore. You're like, what happened?
The plane.
Sorry. My dad is being discharged right now. Sorry, so I got distracted for a second there. I apologize.
We're both out here on Fantasy Island.
It's okay. I'll go live on the other side of the island and pretend we don't know each other.
All right, so real quick, want to say appreciate everybody for coming on the show tonight. Jen, tell us where people can come and find you.
You can get me on the NFL Carousel, but part of Sideline Sports, as well as the NBA Carousel. On occasion, I'm on Snowman in the morning, and obviously Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, things like that. And thank you guys so much for having me on. I really enjoyed it. I love laughs.
Absolutely. And JB, aka the program, where do we find you at?
So the program on the Believe Network, one of the three guys in charge of Sideline Sports, which has a bunch of great shows. Playcaller Sports Talk, one of the best out there. The NBA Carousel on Mondays, the NFL Carousel on Thursdays, which I'm a part of. And now Sideline Sports is on DBNA television, which you can download on Roku and Fire Stick 7 days a week, 4 a.m. Make sure you're watching.
Absolutely, man. Big congrats on that. Doing big things over here at Sideline Sports Network.
Really proud of you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Y'all make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you have not already. And we'll see y'all next Friday night, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Nope.
Play calm.